Welcome back to Hot Takes and Deep Dives. This is Jess, and I am thrilled to be here with Damian Bellino and Anne Rodeman. Now, you might know them from their podcast. You might know her from, where the entire conceit of the podcast is you interview character actresses.
Totally. And thank you for that lovely lead-in. Really nice wink there. Yeah, that's what we do. We shoot the shit with each other, and then we try to interview like an underappreciated actress each episode.
Were you doing that podcast when we recorded last?
I think so, because you were like, how did you... Because we had interviewed Sepideh Moafi,
yeah.
And then you were like, also, can we talk about Guinevere Turner? And I was like, yes. And then I was like, I can't. And you were like, this is really deep. And then we like went on a long conversation about Guinevere.
So... literally the episode that just came out is with Laurel Holloman. Could not be more relevant to, because welcome to the L Word Deep Dive. Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the interview with Laurel. I actually interviewed her a decade ago.
What?
A decade ago, because I was a writer for Autostraddle.
Oh my gosh. I must have known this.
I
must have known this. Okay. Wow.
So I interviewed like Jennifer Beals. Like those were the only two I think from the L Word. Me. Oh, you know who I interviewed? Oh, this is
Janina Gavankar?
No.
I love Poppy.
This is low-key iconic. I interviewed Camilla Gray. Wait. As I was interviewing her, the news was breaking that her and Leisha got kicked off the plane and that they were in a relationship. I end the interview and it's all over the news. So like I missed this. I could have like broken the story or gotten the first quote, and like the universe didn't align.
I'm so sorry.
It was literally that day.
That Southwest flight, they were like kissing, they got kicked off.
Yeah.
It was like a morality clause.
I had no idea they were together.
I saw them like at the Bowery Ballroom in Ahahar. I remember like got into bands based on like lesbian actresses that were in bands.
Wait, didn't Camila also date Clea Duvall?
I think that's not
the rumor.
like 100% documented, but mostly true.
It's confirmed here from us.
Oh, I think how I know it's confirmed is because you guys created your own chart. I mean, we're all over the place already.
Yeah.
Okay, let's back up. I do think they dated. Because Clea Duvall is one of Leisha Hailey's best friends. The question is, why did Leisha and Camilla break up?
Right.
Are we just going to speculate?
I mean, hopefully it was Kim Dickens. Hopefully it was Kim Dickens that did it, because that's who she's with now.
Who's Kim Dickens?
Allegedly. Look, we like to allege a lot of things on our podcast, but lesbian gossip is what we... But you know Kim Dickens because she was on...
Deadwood?
I was going to say Westworld. Deadwood, Treme. She's a blonde actress. You know her face. You might know her from... Look, we've been angling for Kim Dickens for a long time.
And who is dating Kim Dickens now?
Leisha Hailey.
Oh, this is brand new information.
Allegedly.
This is...
Just look at the Instagram. You'll figure it out.
Do you guys listen to Pants?
I listened to a little bit of the Laurel Holloman episode, but honestly, I haven't, because they haven't said yes to us yet. So I was hurt that both Leisha and Kate haven't said yes.
If it makes you feel better, they want nothing to do with me as well.
It does.
Yeah, do they do a lot of press for the L Word? Like, I don't feel like Gen Q gets a ton of press except for Jennifer Beals. Am I wrong though?
They do press with, I mean, the three of them were on the cover of The Advocate.
Yeah.
For the debut. And then yeah, I could make this all about the people who say no to me. The people who will not do this show. Right. But I tried to get Jennifer Beals, and supposedly at least they wrote me back and they're like, she's shooting a movie. I think that they're just not going to do a podcast.
Yeah.
They'll do like the Queerty podcast or like something that's like legitimate gay press.
Kate sort of officially, maybe this is incorrect, but like came out sort of finally publicly on RuPaul's podcast, right?
100%.
Even though it was sort of like an open secret.
Right.
But
she's married now. But I did listen because she's cousins with Gwyneth Paltrow. I did listen to that episode of Pants, and it was good.
Yeah, by the way, we're referring to Kate Moennig and Leisha Hailey, who played Alice in Chains. I mean, if you're listening to this episode, I feel like only L Word fans are going to listen to this, right?
I mean, and to me, it's like the shorthand is what always serves. It's like you have to just, the shorthand is what it is. They want it. They want us to refer to them as Leisha and Kate.
At first, they started like interviewing a bunch of people, part of Gen Q and the original cast. And then I think they like blew through all of those people through the pandemic. Then they were just doing Q&As, which were that was sort of murky waters. Just like listeners would write in and like they'd talk about renovating their homes. And then clearly they got a good producer, because the producer was obviously just like, listen, The only thing that's successful in podcasts is you gotta have to recap the show, and you're gonna have to recap the original. So they're currently on episode 3 of season 1, recapping the original L Word.
I didn't know.
I didn't know that either.
I'm
will listen to
interested.
that.
You're interested? Yeah. I like this version of it the best because at least they have a focus.
Mm-hmm.
And I want that Eileen shaken dirt, you know, like I want to know the behind the scenes stuff that was happening on those first few seasons.
I'm trying to think, what have I, and I've listened to I mean, so far there's only 3. Has there been anything revelatory? Mostly they're like, they've had to rewatch the pilot for a few different things in recent years, I guess, gearing up for Gen Q. And they said, when they first rewatched the pilot, they could barely watch it. They were like, this is embarrassing. And now in doing it for the show, they're like, this is a great fucking show. But they're not at season 2 yet, where like it hasn't gone off the rails.
And can I ask, when do you feel like the L Word in its original incarnation, when did it like go off the rails for you?
Brilliant question. Well, that's the thing. It went off the rails so many times.
Yeah. It like kind of just kept doing some version of that.
I would argue, let's each answer this question. This is a brilliant thought starter. I'll give my first one.
Yes, please.
I believe it first went off the rails when Dana met Tanya at Dinah Shore and was supposedly going to marry her after like an episode. That was the first insane thing they did.
And then it's resolved with Tanya getting together with Melissa Rivers, which I like was into because I felt like they knew what they were doing and how psychotic it was. But like, I love that. It can be,
but it does not live in the universe that the rest of the show did at the time.
I forgot that's how they wrapped that up.
It's so strange.
And that only just underscores. Yeah. I am so committed to my answer now. Okay, Anne.
Okay, I think for me, I was trying to think this through. I think it's like is that the season 3 premiere where like Alice is on pills and driving and like has a radio show crying about Dana like and their breakup.
She has a cardboard cutout of Dana.
And again, I kind of love how much the show, I don't know if they knew they were leaning into it or if they really were dead serious about it, but I think the dead seriousness is like what I like about it and assume that they thought this was a great plot twist, but it seems so unrealistic. And I feel like I loved Alice and I feel like, you know, I was like, I'm an Alice. But it felt unrealistic to her plot line. And I was like, she's going to be fine. Like if she falls apart, great, but this feels unrealistic.
Damian?
So I think for me, the answer is when Dana died. But my thought was also like the Tanya storyline felt like it didn't feel in character with Dana at all, which I think was like funny, but wasn't realistic. So, but my first answer was just like instinctively was just like, oh, it was when Dana died because it just like, it seemed so, because we were talking about this on the train, don't Dana and Alice end up together and like by the end of that season, Dana dies. It's like they have a season together?
No, there's Laura. This is what we were trying to remember the timeline.
I forget why they broke up. Oh, because Dana got back with Laura.
Right. She came in between. Yeah, she like had feelings for Laura.
And then she's with Laura she's with Laura when she finds out that she has breast cancer.
Yeah, and Alice has to like reconcile like being her friend and like losing her girlfriend.
Right. And then is Dana a ghost in the season premiere? Is that right? When Alice is on pills or something?
See, that I loved. I loved when Dana was a ghost. When Dana came back.
I can't deal with "You Are My Sunshine." I can't deal with that song playing as like Alice like falls down the wall crying. I couldn't. Honestly, I mean, Erin Daniels was a really big heart of the show. It was clear they all loved her. It felt so totally tone deaf, and I'm into like surprises and people getting killed off because it feels realistic.
It raises the
I'm
stakes.
38. Yeah. It feels like that could happen. I could die this week, and then you'd have to cry about it. You know, it's like this is a reality, but it felt like really tone deaf to the like fans that were shipping Alice and Dana.
Well, how are you guys into? I mean, we'll keep bouncing back and forth between the original. I mean, this is really, I really want to dig into the original, but we can't talk about the original without talking about Gen Q, which a couple episodes have aired at this point. Here, I'll give you this. On a scale of 1 to 5, what would you grade season 1 of Gen Q in its entirety?
I'm not even going to like ask you to help me qualify it. I'm just going to say like a 2.5. For me, it's a 2.5. And you're giving me a face like that's too low. I'm not sure if that was like, but honestly, I was so glad to see all of the original cast back. And I understand what they're trying to do with the new cast members. It just felt really clunky to me. And I love it. And I'm so glad it exists. And I want it to continue forever. But I felt like the incorporation really didn't work. And I found a lot of the new cast members to be not up to the charm level of the first original series.
I think I completely agree with you. We'll talk about why it has problems, and the problem is that it's poorly cast with a few exceptions.
Agreed.
Which are like gold stars, and then I want to get into my favorite episodes of your show because you interviewed someone who is a bright shining star of the new cast.
I would give it, shocking now after this conversation between the two of you, but I would give it a 4.
Wow.
Well, I just think, like, it's not good, but also, like, the OG one also was what it was. It was, like, super soapy. As discussed, there were things that happened that I was like, is this serious, or is it a wink, or is it both? But I'm into it. And I feel like if we're judging it as a whole, I think there were a lot of bad episodes, but if we're judging it as a whole, the first episode was like, whoo, there was, like, that Lizzo song, and it was, like, so exciting to see everyone back, and then also to see Angie, who was like such like I felt like that was like the only, I think she's also one of the best actors of the new cast. Agreed. And also it was such a great way to like bring an organic way to bring new fresh blood in, and she's like sort of queer or whatever, she's still figuring out because she's a child. So that first episode was great. And then when Laurel Holloman came back, and it was like a surprise, it wasn't like something that was like in a press release, I was like, oh my God. And I thought she was so good. And it was like their chemistry is real, even if I think there's no version of the world where they would ever get back together. I love their chemistry. And so I think based on like a strong-ish pilot or first episode, and then like the end, like the Laurel episodes, I feel like it was a 4. It made me feel good, but it was not like prestige television.
Yeah.
See, I felt that it started out really rough. I felt like it started out at like a 1 or a 2, and then at maybe the last like 3 episodes,
it found it some version of footing. Yes,
I felt like once they had the threesome, we were starting like on an upward trajectory.
That's always how it is.
No, I'm dead serious. That was like actually like an exciting plot device, and it was well shot, and it starred one of my favorite guests of your own.
So you're talking about the threesome between Nat, Alice, and Gigi, played by Sepideh Moafi.
Gigi is my one true love.
She's all of our true love. She's wonderful. She's so good. And a great addition to the show. And I feel like she has that twinkle in her eye that we're looking for on the L Word. Like she has something that makes it seem like she belongs in that universe.
I would argue she is the only one who could have fit in the original cast.
I see that.
I think.
Yes, 100%.
I think that's spot on.
Like finally a fucking grown-up in the room.
Yes.
And that's the issue. I was like trying to like really think about it, and I was looking at all of the different guest stars from the original series. By this point, we would have had already half a season with a Peggy Peabody. Like they're not getting a Holland Taylor this time around.
Right.
Like,
They got Rosie, which is significant, right?
Yes, but it feels much more like stunt casting than
like a recurring
Holland Taylor she was obviously a very successful actress, but the character was so lived in, like the character of Peggy Peabody. It didn't feel like you were watching what movie would you say is Holland Taylor's like like Legally Blonde, I guess. It didn't feel like, oh, there's the woman from Legally Blonde. It felt like, oh, this is going to be like Bette's mentor / nemesis /
Yeah, and she showed up for like many episodes. It wasn't like Holland Taylor is going to have like a 2 episodes. And
like I think that's what I thought. Rosie and Laurel might be actual true players in the new season of Gen Q, and it doesn't seem like that's true. And
do we know how many episodes?
No.
Wait, no, I know Rosie did 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think like we were so excited when Rosie joined the cast, like that, and the fact that they finally cast a butch woman on the show, an older butch woman with gray hair and glasses, and like they look like a couple. I know, they look like a real couple, and it's true that like Rosie doesn't look like she belongs in that universe, and so it's jarring because we're so used to the gloss of the first season, the first iteration of the show. But I agree, like Holland Taylor was also a wink to the audience for those of us that knew that Holland Taylor was like a world famous lesbian whose best friend was like Cindy Adams and like was a lesbian gadabout town, but also is such a great actress that she was grounded in the material.
Can I just comment on the thing that you said, which was like there's another adult in the room about Gigi, which is like some of my issue with some of the new cast members, that would be like Danny, Sophie Suarez, and Finley, is that they all work for the women, like the OGs, which instantly like lets you know, one, that they're so much younger, and that like they're their employees. So it's like Finley and Sophie work for Alice, who's like Ellen, and then Danny she worked for Bet, right? And so that also, it just like instantly made you feel disconnected from them, because it was like, well, they're not their peers, they're their bosses. And so it's like watching two different shows, and I care about the show where I know the characters for 6 seasons already. Like I don't want to watch the show that's about like the employees of those people.
Can I give you my number one problem?
Yeah.
My main hot take. I feel like they completely miscast Danny.
Completely.
This actress should have been canned. She can't act.
There's nothing happening there. There's like nothing happening.
There's nothing
behind the eyes.
There's no star quality. At least, who's the actress who played? Rosanni. Who plays Sophie?
I can't say.
I do think her name is Rosanni something, but I don't know her last name.
She has a star quality to her. All right, see, this is already problems.
Again, I want to root for all of these people. It's great to see like queer bodies on the show that are not just like super femmy, like actressy looking people. I don't know. I just don't think there is any spark with any of them. And we were talking about like, at first I didn't get or like Finley, but at this point, like I'm ready to accept Finley, who at least has like a defined, like doofusy, young, drunk lesbian thing that seems identifiable. And like, I'm like, oh yeah, I know her. I maybe don't like her, but like, at least I feel like she's recognizable to me.
Yeah, and I think that now Tess, I don't remember the actress's name, but she's on...
Oh, Jamie Clayton.
Jamie Clayton from Sense8. Yeah, so she, I'm like into her sort of being more incorporated now, and maybe they're obviously...
They've elevated her role.
There's something happening with her and Shane, and like, I'm into that. Like, again, it's like, that is like new blood that feels connected, like it feels connective to the original iteration, opposed to watching some other show within a show. Like, what show is Micah on?
If they made Jamie Clayton's character trans, I feel like I'd be able to connect more. It would feel more real to me.
Right. Or if Micah dated a woman in the cast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Micah can't act. Like Micah's a child. Michael's a child. We didn't have this problem in the original L Word. They were all like really great actresses.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, even like Mia Kirshner is like, her character was like the most insufferable of all, but she was such a good actor.
Yeah,
literally the best,
an incredible actor.
So good.
I would argue Mia Kirshner gave a better performance than Jennifer Beals.
Yeah, I for sure think that those are the two best in the first one, and I think that that's true. Like, there's sometimes where I'm like, I think that Mia Kirshner's still selling it better.
Completely.
Because she also had harder stuff to do.
Oh, my God.
She had harder stuff to do, and at no point did you feel her reading the lines. You never... She was so committed.
Yeah, she like found a way to make it real. It was like, fuck you, Sissy Birkin is so good. Like, she is so good in it.
Yes.
Fuck you, Birkin.
It's so good.
Oh, I
so at this point now, Kit, Dana, and Jenny are all dead from the original iteration.
Oh, that was a brilliant question that you asked Laurel Holloman. You asked Laurel Holloman, why is the L Word so obsessed with death?
Yes. It's so strange. Like, that show didn't need to be that. Kill off one main character. Great. That's one season's plot. And then we're dealing with that.
Why does anybody have to die?
Exactly. It's a soap opera. I mean, I feel like Mia Kirshner was doing so much heavy lifting, and God bless her, she gave a great performance. She was so good. She was like somehow a villain, and I think history will look kindly upon her performance because
I think it does.
This is history.
Because people were always like, she's insufferable. I was like, I like Jenny the best.
No, we are in
Jenny.
history. But this is 17 years later. I think that's history.
We're in it. Yeah.
Okay, so of the remaining like key players from original L Word, do you think anyone else will return to the Gen Q? That would include Tasha, Helena.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say mostly those two. Everyone else is dead. Who's not on it?
Everyone else is dead?
No. But like Pam Grier can't come back. Mia Kirshner can't come back. Erin Daniels can't come back. So I mean, unless Holland Taylor or Sybil Shepherd or like Clementine Ford return.
Please no. Yeah, I think they have to bring Helena back. Also, you were talking about pants. I circled it and I sent it to Damian. Rachel Shelley edits their podcast.
She does.
That's hilarious to me, and I love it about her, and I really hope they bring back.
Yeah,
I hope they bring her back for the show.
She was the one who told them to do a podcast.
I love it.
I love Rachel Shelley.
I think Helena was exactly what the show needed. Like, they infused fresh blood that really worked in the show. She had a glint in her eye. I feel like she has star power, and she was sort of a villain who then you like came to love, or I came to love, and I would welcome Helena back on
Except
Gen
that
Q.
each season the character was completely different.
I was gonna say that,
that's
that
fair.
she like does start as one way, and then like at a certain point she's just like she's like a totally not that person.
Do you not
anymore.
remember when she went to jail?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my god, I forgot. Okay, I forgot about that.
I mean, Orange is the New Black, but ahead of its time.
Also, okay.
Oh, I love this show
I'm
much.
sorry to derail-
I love it so much.
I'm
I
sorry-
really did forget.
I'm sorry to your listeners, Jess, but just to derail for a second. Speaking of jail, do you know anything about the L Word spinoff, The Farm, starring Leisha Hailey, where she went to prison for killing Jenny?
What am I, an amateur? Of course.
But wait, Jess, do you have
I
it?
live for this
Have you
shit.
seen it?
I feel like at Autostraddle we may have seen something, but I don't remember much.
I mean, I just remember. I think it's that Laurie Metcalf was the warden.
Melissa Leo, baby.
And but
Melissa
who is Laurie?
Leo.
But who is Laurie Metcalf? Laurie Metcalf is also in The
Oh, wait,
Farm.
no. Melissa Leo was on the L Word.
Yes, but she was playing, I think,
A
a different
different
character.
character.
According to IMDb, I mean, our only facts are
No, no, no.
IMDb at this point.
No, that's right. It was her. It was Melissa Leo. You're right. Laurie Metcalf.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. I love that Helena was in jail for a season. I love that we got a Poppy season. Remember, Alice like had sex with a vampire.
That is
I just-
okay. Alice dating the vampire is low key my favorite. Like, you know how sometimes it'll be like a 2-episode like subplot.
Yeah.
I have watched that storyline. I mean, it played out over like 2 or 3 episodes. That I find endlessly, or I found back in the day, endlessly amusing. Like the vampire was really attractive. Like I mean, I don't believe she was a vampire, but I believed whatever was going on.
Totally.
I was like really into it.
She was like getting over Dana. It all made sense to me. And I think that's when the L Word is like firing at its best, where it's sort of ridiculous and over the top. But I think all the actors were able to ground it. And I feel like what you said is that nobody in Gen Q is a strong enough actor in the new crop to sort of ground the material. It's like, I don't care. And also, you're not good enough.
Ironically, the only one who is a strong enough actor, Gay Angie.
We love her. We love Jordan Hall. She's
Best
very
Supporting
good.
Actress,
Agreed.
2021.
Her stuff with Bette and Tina in the first episode of the season, I was like, oh, like she's very good.
Yeah, she has
She's a
something
good young
really
actor.
good.
Agreed.
And I even like the way she interacts with Rosie.
Same.
Yeah.
And she's like Rosie. She was like, what is Carrie's cool.
She loves Carrie.
Do you believe though that Tina would be with Carrie? Or
I
is it
do.
or is it like too soon to tell?
I believe it because I think that after Tina was with Bette, she was like, I will never be with that kind of person again. Like she's like she doesn't care about any of the things that I think that Tina, like I believe that evolution. It makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is like I saw a headline that was like Laura Holloman hopes that Tina and Bette will get back together, and I was like, no, like there's no version of the world where that would happen. You want them to be back together?
Oh, of course I want them to be back together.
I just can't.
However, what fundamentally doesn't make sense is that I believe that they got married. It doesn't make sense that they would break up again and get divorced.
So they split up twice, right? They split up once, and that was when
But she did.
yeah, I agree. I think that the reason that
Why would they get divorced?
because I think Laurel was not available in the beginning of filming, is I think.
Okay, so this is like an actor thing, not an actual like character thing.
That's my assumption. What do you think? When we asked
Yeah.
Laurel and she said,
Yeah, she was like doing an art show and wasn't available at the time and maybe would have considered it. But they had to bring her on in a limited capacity, I guess. And then it sounds like they worked that plot out about the divorce or whatever it is. But I agree. I mean, I think this is probably, we might be in the minority opinion on this, but I agree that I don't think that they should be together. I think that they're toxic. And I think Tina has grown out of the relationship. And I think I would like in a version that isn't the L Word universe to think that, yes, Tina would be attracted to Carrie because Carrie offers her so much that Bette never did. But remember, like, Tina was also like the head of the studio for a while, so she was also like fancy shishi lala. Like, she likes the good life.
I loved it. My favorite part of the interview was when Laurel was talking about how we will see that Tina no longer cares about like materialistic things.
Right.
And like,
Right.
she actually like talked about the evolution. I found that to be very telling and interesting.
Yes,
I love
and
that.
I think that maybe that is like it planted in my brain. So like when I see them together, I'm like, this doesn't look like an unrealistic couple.
Right.
To
It just
me.
doesn't look like what we know of the L Word, but I think it looks more like real life than anything else that I'd seen on the show. And I feel like they didn't do a lot of favors by giving Rosie hacky jokes about like getting a Groupon and doing like 23andMe jokes and like hating scallops and like not liking spicy foods. And I was like, they're making her a buffoon, but then they gave her the "you're beautiful," they gave her that moment. And honestly, I was sitting on my couch crying. I was like, this is wonderful for Tina. She's okay. And Bette's a mess.
I know.
Sitting at the bar with Gigi. And I was like, she's like, I always say she's like on a hamster wheel. She can't get off. Like, Bette will always be like fucking her shit up. She cannot stop.
Jess, what do you think of the Gigi Bette romance or whatever's happening?
Love.
You're into it.
Couldn't have written it better myself.
Do you think, to me, that like Gigi is the closest thing there is to Bette of the new? So to me, a little bit, I'm like, oh, like they are too similar.
We don't know enough about Gigi. But wasn't she promoted to series regular?
I think she was, yeah.
I would like to see Nat removed and Gigi get with Alice, and to have that, because that partnership makes more sense to me. I would like Nat removed from the scenario.
So what's interesting,
That's good.
Yeah, that is good. That is good.
Thank you. This is my wish fulfillment.
That is good. And I noticed when I was watching the credits, it seems like Stephanie, how do you say her last name?
We don't know. We've been saying Alan? I'm not sure.
I think it's Alan, actually.
Okay.
It seems like she's a guest star. And
Great
Gigi
detective work.
is
Series regular.
Okay, I love this. This is really great
But
intel.
we need to fact check that.
Sure.
I mean, it's just a matter of rewinding.
Yeah, they both may have been guest stars last season, and then maybe Seppi got promoted. I forget.
This is what I want to know about.
Yeah.
Okay, at the time when you interviewed Seppi, the L Word Jun Q wasn't even airing. How did you discover her?
We were doing research just on the new cast that had been announced. I think we looked through the IMDb of who is on this show, and then we looked at credits.
And
right?
we saw that she was on The Deuce, and we were like, oh, she's maybe a New York-based actor, and she has
But you didn't realize she was going to be amazing.
We had no idea that she would be the hottest and best actor of the new cast members. Baby Angie,
right?
Notwithstanding.
So yeah, we didn't know that she would be a fan favorite. It really was just serendipitous that
Walk
happened.
me through your interview with her. You went to her apartment?
We went to her apartment in Brooklyn.
Describe the apartment.
It was a beautiful loft, right? It was a beautiful loft. She offered us Persian tea when we walked in. Her publicist was there and was nice, and we had been like,
oh my god, her publicist. We were like,
can we get a screener? We had asked multiple times, can we get a screener so we have an idea of what is happening with the show? And it was a real no. But Seppi was so kind, really warm. Again, I'm just saying it. She has the sparkle. She has the L Word sparkle in her eye.
She has
she's very
charisma
warm
and swagger in person, and we both were like, oh, you're so great. And then Anne, we were like Anne was doing our soundboard and was like, Seppi, talk to me a little bit. I think I don't know if this made the final cut, but I think we included it in a clip show. But Anne was talking to Seppi about
pelvic floor PT, because I don't know how it came up, but I was like, oh,
it was not organic. Anne was just talking, was they have pelvic floor PT, and Seppi was like, oh, and then I was like, we come in hot sometimes.
Yeah,
and it was hot, and it was a good icebreaker. But she laughed, and then it felt like we had a really a good rapport after that. She was a total delight.
And she definitely was definitely not straight, which she revealed in the interview. And then had some, she's not a pop culture person really, but had some lesbians in her sleeve that she was very into. So I appreciate, because sometimes in our show we asked people to name their top 5 lesbians. I feel like she had good answers.
I recently saw an interview with her, and she was talking about how she was obsessed with the original show. She was like, they were like, did you watch the original show? She's like, it's how many times did I watch the original show?
I don't know. I won't say. I don't remember her saying that to us. I feel like she binged the show before she auditioned for it.
Really?
But I love that, because I would say the same thing if I was being interviewed for L Word
But she had
Press.
good answers. We asked her L Word rapid fire, and because I think she had freshly watched it,
totally.
She had answers. Then I asked her if other people we asked her, I don't know why I'm saying we asked her if other people from the original L Word would show up, and I said, and don't tell me Angie's going to show up, because that's a cop-out. And she laughed, and she said yeah, I think so. And I said, okay. And in my head, I think I thought it was going to be Helena, and then it was Tina.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was great. And also, like, is a good actor and is also hot. And also is not, I don't know that she's gay, but she's not a straight person. And
She asserted that.
Yeah,
she asserted
was like,
that in
she's
the interview.
queer.
I think she's gay.
I'm not sure.
I think she might be like queer. I think she might identify as queer, but I have no idea. I don't know anything about her personal life. But I will say that we can confirm that she asserted that she was definitely not straight.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love her.
I think she's an incredible actor, and she's also like not super on social media, which is kind of surprising. I mean, she's on it, but I feel like it's.
Do you remember we were like, "Are you ready for L Word fans to be?" And then she blew up. So I feel like we were like,
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, I don't know." She had like 1,000 followers, and we were like, "You're gonna have."
It's gonna happen. The
a
lesbians
ton,
are coming
and the lesbians
for
are
you.
gonna be in your DMs, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know." And I feel like now she has like hundreds of thousands of followers.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also, she's like for sure the one that people are most into, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Nobody is into the young kids.
I
Yeah,
think
because I feel like I have no. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I have no way to gauge because I feel like I don't hang out with 24 and 25-year-olds, so like I don't know what people are saying, and when I search online, it reveals nothing. But I know I'm not interested in it, but I can't tell ever if that's my age or if that's just like
But I also think the people watching this show it's us.
correct.
It's people who
I-
it's people who watched the original.
I
This
don't
is a
think it's-
legacy moment.
which is why
They're not
then-
getting new viewers.
Why
Right.
then cast people that are like 10, 15 years younger than the original people rather than just build the world? And like add new cast members for sure, but why not cast people that are their contemporaries opposed to casting people that are like children?
Can we talk about Shane?
Please.
I would love to. What happened to Shane?
Terribly written.
Terrible.
Confusingly badly written considering Kate Moennig is an executive producer.
Oh, good point.
Like
Yeah.
it seems like, haven't I seen this before with like the poker? Like I literally feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think it's like it's just confusing to me. Like I liked when Shane was a mess, and I know that Shane has to grow up, but then like Shane has 10K to just drop at like a poker game because she's like was Sally Hershberger and was married to like a pop star.
But then she needed the poker game because she's lost all her money in the divorce. I do think Kate Moennig is really good. I do think she's a good actor, and I just feel like the best parts are when it's the three of them together. And she was like, "You don't want like an equal bet, you want a wifey." I felt like that was the best part of Gen Q season 2. It felt organic. It was like, these are your friends telling it to you straight. You definitely don't want that bet. We know what you want.
Favorite season, best season and favorite season of the original. Obviously, if you were recommending this to somebody has to start at season 1, otherwise they won't get anything. But outside of season 1, although if you think that it peaked in season 1,
I think it maybe did, and I hate saying that because like I love every season of it. But I like probably seasons 1 through 3 best.
So for me, I would say season 2 is Carmen, right? That's the introduction of Carmen.
Yeah.
I think I would say season 2 is maybe best.
why?
Well, because I think that season 1 is really strong, and then I think the introduction of Carmen and like the ways in which the character of Shane has to sort of reconcile like who they are based on their relationship with Carmen then is fascinating. And also Sarah Shahi is just so beautiful. Yeah, like 1 and 2. I would say start with 1, obviously, because you need to watch it. But I think 2 is really strong, and I think you get to see some like really interesting like character evolution for Shane specifically, but also like the Tina and Bet relationship, like all of it. But my favorite season from like a point of affection, which was what I was researching here, is maybe season 4. And like, it's so stupid, but it's just like, it's the season I sort of started with because I started watching the L Word because I like was living with my parents in college, but had recently come out. So I was like, had lived in New York and moved back home and then was like, needed gay content. So I watched all of Queer as Folk. And when that was done, I was like, what's next? So I started watching the L Word, but it was already in season 4 in real time. So I started watching season 4 in real time, but like going back and watching the old seasons. So like Poppy, which is like so embarrassing and all of that, like she's basically like written out, like retconned out of the show now. But like that season was like special for me because I don't know, it was just like my intro to it. So like I have a soft spot for season 4, even though I do think it's kind of when the show became like very melodramatic and very silly.
I love season 4 because that was when Bette was the dean of the art department at the college.
That's the Jessica Capshaw.
That's how she fucks Jessica Capshaw in the car,
yes.
right?
Like I said, they had these brilliant 2-3 episode little arcs that were just delicious and perfect.
And then disappear, please. Forward.
And then they brought in Marlee Matlin, which there are some people that there is a contingency of the fan base that thinks Jodie is the best character that was ever.
That's interesting.
I did like Jodie. I thought she was an interesting foil for Bette, and I'm into them having been very good friends. They're friends in real life, so I liked that sidebar.
I was really into Bette learning sign language.
Yeah,
that
totally.
was all really compelling.
And also, and then the translator was a person who became a cast member because it was important for Jodie to have her translator because she was
but then the translator hooked up with Max.
Yeah,
that's right. That was a whole relationship.
Yeah.
Season 4 was great.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, Sybil Shepherd was introduced, right? And I was into this introduction of Sybil Shepherd because it was a woman who was 10 years older than them, but was organically connected to the group. And she was looking at Bette as even though she was Bette's boss, but she was looking at Bette as some sort of mentor because she was coming into her sexuality. That made sense. I think that is, again, what the new iteration is missing some organic ways of connecting people into the world rather than just arbitrarily doing it.
The new show could never get a Jane Lynch to create this iconic character and then carry that through. She kept coming back and back and then winding up with Sybil Shepherd, which made complete sense.
Yeah.
It was. They were so hilarious together. They were really, really.
I always remember being really surprised when the L Word original would get stars like Sybil Shepherd and Jane Lynch, and I'd be do they have enough money to pay these people? Because they always got pretty good guest stars.
Yeah, they really did.
And also all of the people that got to perform at the Planet, they had I don't know, they had Slater Kinney, they had the Diddy Bops, they had who else?
Right.
Lots of musicians. Sean Colvin, not a lesbian, but
Sean Colvin was
adjacent.
on the cruise, right? She was performing Sunny Came Home at the cruise.
I remember that.
Toshi Reagan playing on the beach. Yeah, I mean, gosh,
that's another thing that's missing from this new one. The music,
on
the original, in some parts, made the show. I even made a list of. I can't tell you a single song that has played on this new one. Nothing has been memorable that I've then wanted to Spotify.
And the scoring of the sex scenes is pretty clunky. Also, is there less sex in Gen Q?
Yes.
There's less sex in Gen Q, and I feel the original L Word got a lot of crap for it because they were oh, this is just sexualizing lesbians. But honestly, I was I feel some of the sex scenes were really hot and good and organic.
Well, at least in this season, I'm surprised that there's any sex at all, but considering they shot this at the height of COVID in LA, I cannot believe. I cannot believe.
True.
But here, I just want to run down some of the music that was, and your mind's going to be blown.
Okay.
Because name a song that's been in the past season. Portishead, Rhodes, Rufus Wainwright, Goldfrapp. Even that opening song from the pilot, the Marianne Faithfull song. By the way, all this music has been erased from the show because
they can't get the rights.
They can't get the rights on streaming.
On in perpetuity.
But Joseph Arthur in The Sun, Joan Armatrading, The Weakness in Me, Dusty Springfield, The Gossip, Nico Case,
Lucinda Williams, I think.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Some of the music was just so perfectly captured the moment and stayed with you. I don't know. I think the music supervisor. Oh my God! Do you want to hear the funniest thing? So I hung out with two friends of mine the other week. One of whom, it was a friend's birthday. One of whom went on a date with Elizabeth Ziff 2 days prior.
What?
Elizabeth Ziff was in Betty as well as being the music supervisor, correct?
Easy Girl, the one who sang that theme song.
Just wanted to confirm.
Yeah.
And dated Eileen Chaikin.
There it is. Yes.
Did we see Betty in concert?
Betty appeared at Henrietta Hudson for L Word Trivia, which
Were you there?
went to.
We went.
No.
This was maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds right. They came and played the theme song. I mean, that bar is so tiny. It was really funny.
They played the theme song.
They showed up. I mean,
yeah, it's true. It's so sad that you don't have the rights. I feel that's why you got to buy the DVDs. You got to buy the hard copy. It's on.
Except nobody has a DVD player.
Look, you got to keep it. I
bought one during COVID.
I believe in a
Did you
DVD
really?
player. I still have a VCR player. You never know what gem you're going to stumble across at a garage sale or a thrift store. You got to streaming comes and goes. DVD will be to stay.
I do own the complete series on DVD.
Yeah,
the
bless
box
you.
set.
Of course. What did you think of Queer as Folk? Considering, and did you watch Queer as Folk?
Yeah, I did. Both of those things were things I downloaded illegally and then hid in folders on my computer. You know.
Do you know Taya Gill is now with a woman?
no, I don't. We talk about her all the time. And Melanie,
Michelle
Clooney, I think, but
She's straight.
She and
She
Brian
has that baby with Bryan Singer.
They went in on a baby together. And
Wait.
but you're blowing my mind with Taya Gill, so please take me there.
I think we knew this about Taya because I think I sent you her Instagram.
You know what?
It is all over the Instagram. You can't miss it.
Okay, I'm so happy for her. This is big news.
But I think she's with like a Queer as Folk like super fan.
We're concerned about that. That's concerning. I mean, I hope they're both happy. You never know where love will
She
strike.
always seemed a little troubled.
Yeah.
And I could never wrap even to this day. 'Cause I recently rewatched a lot of Queer as Folk.
Okay.
Because I'm interviewing two of the stars of Queer as Folk together. And so I rewatched a bunch of it.
Wait, which stars? Okay, you can't say.
I know, I'll break it here.
Yeah.
Peter Page and Scott Lowell.
Oh,
together. They're still best friends.
I love that.
I love that.
You heard it here first.
That's so exciting. I can't wait.
So I could never wrap my head around, and even in rewatching it, that Gail Harold is straight. How is that possible?
The internet abounds with lots of conversations about it. And every once in a while I do a deep dive because there are a lot of claims that he wasn't or that there was something happening between him and Randy Harrison.
There was nothing happening. I even got the vibe that they like kind of didn't like each other.
Randy Harrison's like a theater actor, and I feel like it's interesting to how they've all. And I will be interested to listen to your interview to see what the dynamics are because I feel like a lot of them were united during COVID for something like Seth Rudetsky's show on YouTube, and I watched some of it, but I think Gail wasn't there, and I don't know if he has distanced himself from the show like post it. I don't know. I feel like I'm into it. I'm into him being straight and doing all of those like raunchy gay sex scenes.
Yeah, also because there wasn't really a precedent for it on like Canadian or American television in a real way. It was like some of those sex scenes were like really graphic and hot.
Can you talk about what did Michael say about gay sex?
Who said?
What's his name?
Hal Sparks?
Yeah, what did he say?
Oh yeah, this always stuck with me.
This just came up recently on our show.
Hal Sparks said something in some interview at some point about how he didn't know that men could have sex facing each other. And like, look, we all learn things. You know, I don't expect every single person to know everything about every type of sex that you could have.
How would a straight comedian know that?
But I also just think it's not a cute look in an interview like on Craig Kilborn or something to be like, look, I didn't know dudes could like face each other and fuck at the same time. Like, it's blowing my mind. I feel like it's the same feeling I have when like actresses go on talk shows and talk about their lesbian sex. And it's like, I didn't know women were so soft. It's like, what is your problem? Like, why is this the talking point? I get it, but also come up with something else. Because if it's not homophobic, it's at least like, it's a little stupid.
Do you remember when Jennifer Beals schooled Deborah Norville?
No.
In that interview?
No, tell me.
You got to go back. It's on YouTube. I mean, I remember when it aired live. She was promoting the show, and Deborah Norville said something like, are you comfortable with your daughter watching? I don't know. As if she's like, well, first of all, like my daughter's 1, so like she's not watching the L Word. It was a full bet moment and like laid into her.
She's smart. She
This
also
was, like,
educated
2005.
herself. Right. She like also educated herself before she went and like played a lesbian and was the star of a show about lesbians and only lesbians on TV. And I feel like that was irritating. That's what was annoying about Hal Sparks. He didn't have the language for it.
You asked what I thought about Queer as Folk, and I did revisit like maybe the first episode, I think in COVID, and I was like, I don't think I'm ready to rewatch this. I loved it at the time. Even though I was like, this isn't like prestige television, it like shifted something in me. But then when I look at the L Word now, like even though it's like soapy and ridiculous, it feels like a better show that's not just about the sex. When I watch Queer as Folk, I have more trouble connecting to the people because I feel like it is rooted in like a very specific type of culture and like the ways in which Emmett, is that his name? Mm-hmm. Emmett and Ted are like othered by like it doesn't make, they don't make sense as a foursome of friends. It's like really rooted in like circuit party culture, and then like Ted becomes a meth addict. Like just the ways in which there's not a lot of nuance, and it does not hold the same affection as the L Word, which is sad to say.
I think the L Word built on what Queer as Folk laid the foundation for.
You ready for how did you get into the L Word? Did you watch it from day one?
I did watch it from day one. I was in college and I was not out, and I would download it on my computer. And like, I don't know if it wasn't Napster, because like whatever the last service that you could like download things from before it got shut down, I downloaded each episode, and I remember like their titles, and it would be like 1x03. And then I would just save them in files and watch them after everybody would go to bed. I was obsessed with it, and then would watch it more in real time. Yeah.
How I first even found out that there was going to be this show. So this may blow your minds. Let me try and like get the facts right. So when I first came out to like my first few people and was just like discovering, some sort of who any sort of famous lesbian was, immediately I gravitated toward Guinevere Turner.
Yes. Yes.
Very into this. Okay.
Obsessed. And I somehow found her email address. I think it was like gwynturner@AOL.com. Like, to be honest, I was in college, and we would correspond over email. And she told me that she was going to be writing on this new lesbian show. I think she said it was called Earthlings. I think she even said, I wish, because it was on my old AOL account, which I like don't have access to anymore. If I could dig these, I would read the emails right now. If I could. And that was how I found out that she was going to be attached to it. And then after the first season had aired, she did like an event or like a Q&A in Philadelphia that I went to. I took the train, and I think I like came back the same day. I was still living at home.
Oh, I love
That's
this.
so sweet.
And she like talked about it. It was like a whole thing. And then that was when I first met her. And then she did another Q&A. I think it was like a screening of American Psycho here in the city, and I went to that. But that was I obviously would have found the show anyway, but
No,
it
that's
truly
sweet.
was from being utterly obsessed
So
with Guinevere Turner.
She's very easy to be obsessed with, and she's so brilliant. How do you feel about Gabby DeVoe? Like, were you
Obsessed.
a Gabby DeVoe?
Love.
Okay, yeah.
I love because she's Guinevere. She's playing herself.
Yeah.
I love when she showed like the callback of her. She's like shows up in season 5 or something, right?
Yes, that's right. Oh,
I can't even
my God.
remember the context of it. She's like in an office setting. I can like picture it, but I can't remember why.
And they would routinely mention her
Yeah.
name. Even after, by the way, you know what? The writing staff replaced her role with Elizabeth Ziff. And I think she was really pissed about that. Because Elizabeth Ziff had no writing credits to her name.
Okay. I mean, I knew that she was like let go or whatever, but I didn't realize that Elizabeth Ziff became a TV writer then. Interesting. Okay.
Elizabeth Ziff wrote a lot of episodes.
I don't think I knew that. So she was the music supervisor, and she's a member of Betty, who sang the theme song, and she wrote an episodes.
This was a huge, the internet exploded. They could not stop talking about it.
Okay. Well, you need to have Elizabeth Ziff on the show.
Yeah.
On your show. She would be good on your show. And I think she's gettable, considering she went on a date with my friend.
Okay, you're going to connect us. Did you, just on the last Guinevere Turner tip, are you, like, you've seen her taxi cab confessions?
Of course.
It was, oh God, that story changed my life. I was obsessed with taxi cab confessions.
I've seen that
as a
100
kid.
times.
Yeah.
Cookie, the driver.
Cookie.
Oh.
And then Cookie like went on Letterman or something. It was just like, oh man, taxi cab confessions was like a sexual awakening for me as a young person.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, go.
And also, did you watch Guinevere Turner on $1 Million Matchmaker, where she goes on a date with Rosie from Real Houses of New Jersey?
Are you fucking serious? Patty Stanger?
Yes.
No.
She is the person that Rosie gets set up with, and then we asked her. We interviewed Guinevere on our podcast.
Yes, of
And we
course.
asked her. I don't think it made the final cut.
Right.
But we asked her about it, and she talked about like getting set up with Rosie and being like, She was like, I wasn't into it, but it was
But did she know who? I don't see her as like a Bravo watcher.
I don't think she knew who Rosie was, but I think
Yeah.
she was sort of like cast as supposed to. Rosie was the millionaire, and Guinevere was like one of the people.
Rosie
What's
from
her
the Real Housewives of New Jersey is a million. She's not a millionaire.
I mean, I think that the term is used loosely to just be like you're a celebrity who maybe like quote unquote celebrity.
Well, just like you're on Bravo.
Yeah, and you have maybe like some money in your savings account.
I mean, they called Liam McSweeney a millionaire in
Exactly.
2005.
Exactly. So yes, so Rosie I think was the millionaire, and Guinevere was like one of the suitors or whatever they're called if they're women. And Rosie chose Guinevere, and so Guinevere like went on a date. We watched
They did something
kayaking or
outside.
some
Yeah,
canoeing.
it was outdoorsy.
Some
We're gonna
clips
send
are
it.
available. You can find
Yeah.
still. It is. I can't believe you don't know this.
This is an embarrassing blind spot.
It was shocking, and it was very cool to like. So that and Taxi Cab Confessions were both things we had to be like, we need to know about this, because it seems to me like things that she wouldn't. Well, Taxi Cab Confessions, she was very young. So
Did you interview her in person?
Yeah.
Was that because she was living in New York at the time?
She was here for a project. She was
working with Mary Herron on the oh god, now I can't say the name of the film, the one that was the Charlie Manson film. I can't say The Family. No, that's not what it's called.
Did it come out?
Yes, it came out like 2 years ago.
I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but she was here doing press, I think, with Mary Herron, or working on the screenplay. And so we met her in a hotel room downtown, and like we had just
Tell me what was she like?
She was wild. She was like coming from meeting with friends, and then she met us, and she had injured her leg, so she like had a cane. And I told her my whole theory about how where there's a lesbian, there's a cane or a wrist brace or a knee brace, and she was like, what? And I was like, you know what I'm talking about.
She was like, you're sporty.
And I was like, I'm not. I don't know. Okay, it didn't land, but we went to her hotel room, and I think we had just posted the lesbian chart that we made.
Oh, we need to talk about this.
And so this is a thing that was like Damian and I's passion project, where we would just go to bars and get drunk and like list every lesbian we could. And then we decided what would be fun is put together every person on the L Word that we know has at least slept with a woman, if not an out lesbian, and then connect everyone, like create a web.
I am so okay. So we pulled up this chart that you made. Now, first of all, I am very impressed that you knew. I recently found out that Sandra Bernhard seriously dated Patricia Velasquez,
who we also had on the show. Patricia Velasquez we had on the show, and she was very open about it and said like Sandra Bernhard was her first girlfriend, and she talks about it in her book. And so I felt like there's just so much lesbian like winks in the L Word. And so Guinevere was like, basically had emailed us, must have seen that we posted the chart, and was like, you missed a few, wink face. And then we did a little bit more research, and she revealed that she dated Portia de Rossi.
No. We knew Portia.
She said,
how did you find out about Portia?
That's right.
And we were like, well, we had read about it on like a chat room,
Guinevere Turner dated Portia?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When?
Like in early...
Before she was with Francesca Gregorini. Or maybe after.
Before Portia was.
Before Portia was with Francesca Gregorini.
How did you find out about that?
Well, we had read about it probably in some like...
There's like some really deep...
data group lounge type of group.
I used to be obsessed with data.
But when we wrote this piece for Slate, we had to like try to substantiate the things. And so we found like a...
Was it a page 6 or like
it wasn't page 6, but it was some sort of like West Coast version of that was like Portia. It was like Guinevere Turner and girlfriend Portia de Rossi seen at like X festival. So we were able to substantiate it by like one old clipping in a newspaper somehow.
And she told us, which we didn't know, that she was dating Katie Lang, and Katie Lang broke up with her to date Leisha Hailey.
Yeah, that I knew.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. That was revealed to us in the moment.
In the elevator of her hotel. And she also told us that she dated Jenny Shimizu.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's... No. Yeah,
and I didn't know that, but then I was like... I found an article that also confirmed it.
How did you find out that Jackie Warner dated Elizabeth Keener?
Okay, that was that's a recent connection. That is like a really more recent thing, because that was because Jackie Warner like made headlines when she had, I don't know if she...
That was my interview with her.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't know until she told me.
So maybe
this is pre-Jillian Michaels to Jackie Warner. That's
right.
Elizabeth Keener and Jackie Warner, you knew because...
I mean, when I tell you this is like really deep hours of just like diving through like page 87 of message boards and then trying to save the link and save it as a PDF, I can't even we must have it linked out somewhere.
We do.
When I do tell you that it is substantiated, but like,
Well, no, it's 100%. She told me all about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, she just wasn't for me. Like, she like totally rejected her when I was inquiring. Now, a couple other things here that are interesting to me.
Yes.
It blows my mind that Carrie Brownstein dated Taylor Schilling and Abby Jacobson.
Isn't it wild? Now, Taylor Schilling...
And
how is
St. Vincent.
And who?
And St. Vincent.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Right. And that was long standing, I think.
Abby Jacobson did a brilliant interview with Carmen Esposito on her podcast. I would love to interview Abby Jacobson, but I almost feel like, well, the interview's been done.
I want to listen to that. That's interesting.
You know what? You know how I also felt the same way when I listened to your guys' interview with Tammy Lynn Michaels? I messaged you. I'm like, nothing will ever be better than that specific interview with her. Like, she'll never do a better interview.
Well, it's interesting because she, our show is about like the acting work, but we obviously want to ask about all of the things, and her career was so, took a turn, for better or worse. It just took a turn because of her relationship with Melissa Etheridge, and I felt like it was interesting to hear. She seemed like I feel like she was very Tina in like the way she was able to talk about
totally.
like that relationship is never what you think it was based on like seeing it, and like also like I'm better, like I'm fine now, like I'm out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The stories she told, she's fucking hilarious. The story she told about going to Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes' wedding.
oh my god, like she hadn't seen Katie Holmes since they were dancing next to a frog or something.
That's right, because they were both WB stars. She was so warm and open, and I think we weren't sure how candid she was going to be or wanted to be. And I feel like she was our kind of people. Like, she is like a country girl who loves acting and came to New York and like went to AMDA, lived this like sort of insane life, and now is like, I crochet, I'm happy and healthy, I have like a partner and kids, and like I'm good.
Yeah.
But also she had humor about all of it.
Okay, the thing that I will never be able to like wrap my head, isn't it crazy that Jodie Foster wound up marrying Alexandra Hedison?
Come on.
It is so stupid and crazy and wild to me. Like, it's so funny.
It's
Like
Beautiful
accepting the Emmy in bed during
Honestly,
COVID.
that was peak. That was like lesbian icon status confirmed. Because the Golden Globe coming out for Jodie, I was like, please don't think Mel
Golden
Gibson
Globe,
in your coming
forgive
out.
me.
It's like, please don't think Mel Gibson in your coming out Golden Globe speech. But then when she accepted that, I said, you've got it. Your life looks great. You look good. Alexandra Hedison is stunning.
I thought Alexandra Hedison looked sexy
She
as
is
fuck.
sexy.
Yeah,
I think she's so
good.
sexy.
Oh, I never liked her character on the L Word. I didn't think she looked good. I don't like her with that really short hair, but I loved her. I loved her when she was dating, or the idea that I had of her when she was dating Ellen. Oh my God. Fun fact. Are you a Bravo fan?
Ish, but I don't watch Housewives, so I'm like out of that loop.
Okay, so this is like so tangentially
I'm like
related,
a Jackie
but
Warner Bravo era.
Got it.
Like that is my era of Bravo, like early Bravo.
Work out.
Yeah.
Okay, you know Ryan Bailey?
Yes, I know who he is.
He hosts a Bravo podcast, like beloved Bravo. Okay, so I'm friendly with him. Alexandra Hedison took his headshots. When it said like at the bottom, like credit Alexandra Hedison, I sent a text so fast to him. I'm like, we need to talk about Alexandra Hedison. And he's like, yeah, she was my thing. She was always so nice. I'm like, do you understand who this woman is in the world?
Right.
Iconic.
She's now like a super connector. She's dated two of the hugest lesbians of all time.
How does that happen?
She's living a charmed life.
Well, it's like who did Katie Lang, Melissa Etheridge fucked Katie Lang's girlfriend or wife or vice versa?
Katie Lang.
Remember they were all in a jacuzzi together? Oh, it was Julie Cypher.
Julie Cypher, yeah.
Katie Lang and Julie Cypher fucked. And that was like a point of contention in Melissa Etheridge's relationship with Julie
Right.
Cypher because Katie Lang fucked her wife.
Is this where
It's confirmed.
all of that music comes from?
I mean, it's confirmed in Melissa's book. I don't know what era album that would have been, but yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Like that song Similar Features?
I don't know it. I don't know it.
Oh my God.
Interesting.
I'm no Melissa Etheridge like super fan, but there are some songs that I'm like, that I can still rock out to as I'm like walking around here.
She's very good. She's
Yeah.
very good.
Listen to the song Similar Features.
Okay.
It's like an old song. It's so good. The lyrics are like, she's got similar features but longer hair.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. And Melissa
Where
Etheridge,
is this story
It's
from?
in Melissa Etheridge's book. Like it's
we
in
have
her-
a screenshot somewhere. We like
Oh my
screenshot the
God.
page.
Yeah, and she's like, we were all in the jacuzzi, and that's when like Katie revealed that like I don't remember what the context was, like when they had fucked.
Wow. Okay. Another point of contention I have with Gen Q. Going back to shitting on Gen Q. I find that Bette has been neutered. I love Bette when she's walking into the pool from the season 2, like I think it's like season 2 episode 3. She's like at her fucking wit's end. The name of the episode is Loneliest Number. I remember because it's so fucking good. I love that. I love when she crashes her car, screams at that guy. I love when she's like throwing shit, when she's like acting out.
Unhinged. Yeah.
That is why we love Bette.
Completely.
It's because she's a badass bitch.
Yeah.
I feel like Bette would be a Scorpio.
That is messy Bette, and we do like seeing her. I love her crying in a car.
I'm sorry, I just was Googling Bette Porter's zodiac sign, and this is the first thing that showed up.
I
So,
love the internet.
No. Jennifer Beals.
okay, Jennifer Beals zodiac sign. Now,
I don't know about fictitious
I was
characters.
going to say, I thought that you were saying that you know that, that Bette Porter's birthday is in December.
No. I don't know.
You.
I don't think that's written.
But don't you think that's what was happening with Seppi? Is like, first of all, I would love to talk about Candace, but don't we think that like Seppi's character, that Gigi was like trying to top Bette in episode 2, and then she was like, and I was like, okay, I'm into that.
But that is
push-pull.
so real. That is like
Yeah.
realistic. Like that. It is the thing that creates chemistry is polarity. Even when it's two dominant people,
Right.
like eventually there is always some degree of polarity, and that is where attraction manifests itself. Don't you agree?
I'm into it, honestly.
Okay.
I mean, I think she has the gravitas. I think she
I
has the
agree.
swagger
Yes.
to like go toe to toe with Jennifer Beals, which obviously the producers saw. They're like, oh, she can like hold her own here, and the audience is on board with it. And I don't think nobody else had that, obviously.
I think I think the writers would keep them together for the like let it play out.
Do you think there's going to be a season 3?
Great question. Kate and Leisha do.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I hope there is, just because look, I'll watch it until it's not on. I'll watch it till the end of time. If it becomes terrible, I would love to see them be like octogenarian lesbians. I'll watch any version of it. But Damian and I were talking on the way here about like what other characters could come back, and you said
Candace, because it would be so interesting to see like what Bette's life now, as she's trying to reconcile with like the loss of Tina still, would be like if she faced seeing Candace again, who I feel like is still like a haunting reminder of like what she did all those years
Wow.
ago.
Yeah.
And also it's just like a way to incorporate like new blood, but also it's like old blood, you know? It's like it doesn't feel, I don't know. I want to see the people that I know that like help build out the world that I know, not have to like accept a new world, you know?
Mm-hmm. I was thinking earlier how like what is the answer to Gen Q? Because you know how like on Housewives, it's always there are two schools of thought. It's always like bring back the old Housewives, or there's Brian Moylan always says the answer is not in the past. The answer is in finding Dorinda Medley, who we didn't know existed, and then change the face of Roni.
Yeah.
They need to find new stars. I don't know that they need to dig back into the original. I think they've got the
But don't you think that they try to do that, and that's what we have your girl Danny?
My girl Danny?
Danny
this
the
is
character.
Gen Q, meaning like these are the stars they gave us.
They tried to find stars. Like I think they succeeded with Seppi and Angie, but
Yeah.
I don't think that they succeeded
The rest
with
are duds. The rest are duds.
How
and
could they cat?
yeah, I don't know what the solution is.
I mean, I'm down for finding new stars, but I just don't think that I trust them based on what they've given us so far.
Another storyline that I really loved on the original was the relationship between Bette and Aussie Davis.
Oh,
That was so real, and it grounded the show, and like I felt like that really like hooked people in.
I agree. I thought that like the whole dynamic about I would have actually like loved to have had more with Bette and Kit and like their family. Like
Yeah.
we never. The understanding was that like Bette's father or their father left, I think, Kit's mother for Bette's mother, but we never met the mothers. Like we've never seen Bette's mom on the show. And I think that's so interesting. And like I loved the dynamic between Bette and Aussie Davis, but we never got to see her have that dynamic with like a woman who was, I don't know, I would have liked to see that. Is Ann Archer ever going to come back and be Alice's
I
mom?
hope so.
That I could see how. Like, what's she doing?
I don't know, at this Church
She's
of
at the
Scientology.
Church of- yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! You know what came out in the news today?
Can't wait to know after that.
Tell me.
Laura Prepon left Scientology.
Ben Foster got her out! Yes, Ben Foster.
5 years ago. 5 years ago.
Okay, good, because look, she was embroiled with Danny Masterson. That was a bad thing. He is a piece of shit. And so good for Laura Prepon. I'm glad to hear it.
Oh, that makes me happy.
I
always
root
thought
for her. I root for her.
I always thought she was gay, so that's interesting. But I'm glad that she's out of the Church of Scientology.
Me too.
Whew, okay, you broke it here.
Well, people broke it today. But
You're bringing it to us.
who's coming up on your show?
Yeah, we haven't revealed anything yet. So we are currently like in our summer episodes. We're launching season 4 in the fall. And I think we have like...
was the Laurel Holloman just a bonus?
It was a little summer tidbit, yeah.
Yeah.
What a tidbit that was.
Ooh, we love her. And The Incredibly True Adventures of Two Girls in Love is so important.
That movie is really good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So let's start with dream guests. Dream guests, we've had a few of our dream guests on, which has been thrilling, but I would say like Tyne Daly is top of our list. Speaking of like lesbian icons who aren't gay. Tyne Daly is there. Who else do we always say?
Glenn Close.
And is she, you might know her from? No, she's not. But at this point, she's like the workingest character actress in Hollywood.
Alfre Woodard.
We've been after Lorraine Toussaint for a long time. I think about her all the time. Lucy Liu, I want to get Lucy. At this point, Lucy Liu Izzy, you might know her from, and she is like a painting lesbian paintings. And so, like, please, Lucy Liu, come do the show.
Didi Khan.
Oh, yeah, huge Grease fans. We did have Dinah Manoff on the show this summer, too. So I feel like, you know, our Venn diagram crossover is like lesbian gossip and like lesbian history, musicals, and character actresses like 55 plus.
Yes.
So that's sort of where our heart lies.
I want to give a quick plug and find out if you guys are aware of this. There's a documentary about the creation of Curve magazine.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
It's called Ahead of the Curve. It was recommended to me at that dinner by my friend who went on the date with Elizabeth.
Bless this person.
It all comes back around.
We'd love to meet this friend.
It all comes back around. And she's like, you have to watch this documentary. It's basic. Okay, so do you know the story of this magazine?
No, I mean, I loved Curve, and Curve was like something that I read obsessively and online, just like, yeah.
I would always go to the bookstore. I'm from Long Island. I would drive, I'm from suburbia. Like I would always like drive to Borders or Barnes and Noble. And like, I always would read Curve. And especially they always had all the L Word people on there and were doing interviews. So the story is there was an original founder of the magazine. It was not called Curve. It was called Deneuve. Named after, obviously, Catherine Deneuve from The Hunger. And it was super successful. Eventually, they had, like, Melissa Etheridge on the cover, and they got all these people on the cover. And then Catherine Deneuve sued them. And the magazine, like, nearly shut down. I mean, it tells a story how, like, initially, they wanted to, the founder of the magazine wanted to see if she could print, like, another issue, like, to have, like, one issue, to have like, another issue. Then it became super successful, and then she gets slapped with this lawsuit, and it nearly sent the whole thing under. They eventually renamed it as Curve. It went on, but within a certain number of years after renaming it as Curve, she had an accident and she like sort of lost the use. She's in a wheelchair currently. And so, but she's like the star of the documentary, and it's like an inspiring story, but she eventually had to step down as being the editor-in-chief of the magazine. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Ahead of the Curve. I watched it here in like one sitting on a Friday night. I was like glued. Oh. And it's all, I bet you'll get a lot of ideas for like who to interview, just based on like, I mean, just seeing all those old covers and like the people who were iconic in the 90s, like when the magazine was founded.
I can't wait
to watch it. It's like firmly like in our like wheelhouse.
Yes.
Speaking of like dream guests, I think something that we've been talking about recently and like 90s lesbians is like this sort of crop of like the Meredith Baxters and the Kelly McGillises and the late in life lesbians that were sort of starting of a certain era that we would are dying to have on the show. And also, of course, like Kelly McGillis was on the L Word. And so
Meredith Baxter would do it.
We're trying. We can't reach her. She has no online presence. I found her wife on Instagram. It feels too weird. But I do think like I can't wait to dive into that documentary because I feel like it's right up our alley. And two, just like finding those women that were like the Sybil Shepherd of the L Word, like actually in real life came out and seemed to be doing well. Like those are the interviews that I'm excited to have.
Any final thoughts? Another deep cut from season 1 of the L Word, Robin, who dates Jenny at the end.
Oh, of course! Anne Ramsey!
Anne Ramsey from Mad About You.
Yes.
Played Helen Hunt's sister. I was obsessed with Mad About You.
And A League of Their Own.
She's
gay.
League of Their Own, yeah.
Oh my God, you could get her. She'll fucking do it.
We're trying. She won't. When I tell you
all
the
these
nose
people who I
you
think
get.
are so fucking gettable. What is she doing? Nothing.
I think that and also I think sometimes when people like are, I mean, theory is that sometimes people don't want to talk about, like, we're going to be like, who are your top 5 lesbians? Like,
Or like, do you want to talk about this credit from 20 years ago?
yeah, and so she might not want to do that. She might not want to talk about, like, that stuff.
Who are each of your top 5 lesbians?
Oh God, I did have this. Rosie is in my top 5.
Rosie's
so
in
that
my-
is why it's been so thrilling. Also, there was that great piece on Rosie and about like the history of the Rosie O'Donnell show and
New
about
York
how
Magazine
like
did it.
Yes.
she paid her employees really well and went to bat for them and wanted gay people on her staff and she was so ahead of her time. Anyway, Rosie's for sure top 5. Audre Lorde is in my top 5.
For me, Rosie, maybe Dusty Springfield. That's just hard when you're answering it.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't Guinevere Turner have to be up there?
Look, Guinevere really gave us some.
Or do you need
really,
a bigger name?
No. It's about like an emotional.
What's the qualifier?
It's like an emotional connection for me. So it isn't about like you have the most star power. You've
So
done the
Guinevere
most.
would be in mine.
Okay.
No. I'm asking. Like that. This is the most formative person.
Then I think
Yeah,
in
so
my
then
youth.
she's for sure top
I
5
think the
lesbian.
answer
No
is-
question.
Okay.
Yeah.
No question.
I'm like forming my list.
I
in
know,
my
me
head.
too, and I'm trying to think mine through.
I feel like I've answered this before on air with Seppi, and I don't remember now who was in it. But for sure, Rosie. I'm going to say Dusty Springfield is in there.
Audre Lorde is for sure in
I'm going to
mine.
put Nell Carter in it right now.
I love a late in life lesbian. God bless her. Like, do you have musician lesbians? Because I feel like there's the Katie Lang and the the Katie Lang and the Melissa Etheridge. Like, those people were important, but they weren't important to me.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't have musician lesbians.
Right.
I mean, I love Carrie Brownstein, but I'm not a fan of Sleater Kinney. I love her from Portlandia.
So just going back, we saw Sleater Kinney and we saw Taylor Schilling in the audience wearing the beanie, like in the, it was like, I do love Sleater Kinney, and I would say Carrie Brownstein probably would have been in my top 5, but I can't with all of the lesbian drama that she's created in the last 10 years.
Is she the Bette Porter of the music?
She is. I think she for sure is.
She seems so unassuming, which I think is what is so like annoying about it to me, is that she doesn't seem like that type of person.
Right.
But then it's
I
like
know.
she's dated 3 very other famous bisexual or lesbians who are also still lesbians in their own right, and then like also gotten back together with
Same
them,
reason.
and it's like. Yeah, and it's like never being super open about it, but then like posting about them on your Instagram. It's just like too much.
I like rarely like young people, but I will say that adding to my top 5 lesbian list, I'm putting Cara Delevingne. Not because I've ever seen her in anything. I've never seen her in a movie. And I was always like, what is your deal? Like she gets to fuck so many famous women. She has fucked so many famous women. And at
Is
a
she
certain
the one
point,
who's dating Kristen Stewart?
She
She
did
did.
date Kristen Stewart. Now she dated Ashley Benson from Pretty Little Liars.
I don't know. Guinevere Turner might be in mine. Tonight, Guinevere Turner's in mine.
She made it.
Guinevere
She made the
Turner,
list.
Nell Carter, Rosie O'Donnell, Dusty Springfield. I only need one more.
I've got mine ready to go.
Okay, wait, Jess, let's hear yours.
Rosie is in mine.
Yes.
Totally formative.
Yes.
Okay. Rosie, Guinevere Turner, Genesis Moss from The Real World.
Oh my
We're
God,
familiar with
Blonde
their
Genesis.
oeuvre.
Okay.
Yes.
Won't do my podcast.
What?
It's
Come on,
fine.
Genesis.
It's fine. I've interviewed every fucking Real Worlder. It's fine. Except for the one who changed my life. That's fine. A pre-fame Kate McKinnon, who I love.
Big gay sketch show, New York comedy.
Big gay sketch show, New York comedy, UCB,
Totally.
Kate McKinnon. And then I like the transition into Hillary Clinton. Kate McKinnon, we were on a cruise together. I'll tell you the story after. And then I got to say Julie Goldman.
I was going to make it.
Because they did that thing together on the cruise. Did you
Just
do their show?
No. But they both, Julie Goldman and Brandy Howard did video content for Autostraddle. So I've spent a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
Like in the downtime. And nobody is funnier on this planet than Julie Goldman.
I love that. And you've just inspired me because of a similar aesthetic that I forgot who was in my top 5, and it's Leah Delaria.
Oh, me too. She's in mine.
Oh my God, I just went to her jazz club in Provincetown.
Yes, the club.
Yes.
Yes. How
But she
was
wasn't
it?
there. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm so happy she has that club. I'm so happy she has the
Yeah.
club.
Also won't do the podcast.
Oh,
Same.
Yeah.
This is just a who's who of won't do our shows.
Yeah, because she's like an OG. She's been out and proud, like at the front of the Dyke March in San Francisco. Like she's been so big for so long.
She was featured on the documentary about the Curve magazine. She was one of the first to, once they started getting celebrities
Yeah.
And then she's like a musical theater lesbian, which I feel like is sort of a rarity, at least like
Totally.
being famous. And then also she was in Edge of 17, which was like an important gay film to me. So I feel like there's lots.
Have you seen her perform live?
I never have seen her. My partner saw her last 2 years ago in Provincetown and said she was phenomenal.
I saw her in Rocky Horror.
Ugh,
Oh my God.
one of my greatest regrets.
The Valentine's Day right before COVID, so literally like February 14th, 2020, she did a show at Joe's Pub called Love Sucks. And it was her, and she had like special guests, like two of the girls from Orange is the New Black, the ones who are together, who are musicians, singers.
Emily Tarver
and Vicky Martinez from The Voice.
Oh, from The Voice. Yes, they're still together.
Yeah, I interviewed them on the show. Yeah, they'll do your show because they did mine. But the whole thing is breakup songs. All they do are breakup songs.
Yeah.
And Emily and Vicky performed "I Drive Myself Crazy" off the debut album of NSYNC.
Yeah, I love that song.
That is good. I'm into that.
That's it. Where did you guys meet?
We went to college together and we like knew who each other were. And then we reconnected. Actually, we were like recruited to write for a Tony Winners variety show that never happened. But that's how we became friends then.
What college did you go to?
Marymount Manhattan College on the Upper East Side.
Yes.
I really wanted it to be like Sarah Lawrence. Like
I know. I wish it was like a small lesbian friendly school.
I really wanted it to be Sarah Lawrence. Or what's that other school?
Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. But Guinevere Turner was very into our dynamic of being like gay men and gay women are not usually best friends.
Because her best friend was a gay man who passed away. So I was into that because I felt like she understood the dynamic, because it does feel like a rarity, because I feel like Damian is the gay man that I know that knows the most. He knows more than most lesbians I know about lesbian pop culture, and it's one of the ways in which we connect, because I feel like we both have the same brainwaves.
Yeah, that's why I love Damian.
Yeah.
Tell everyone where they can find your podcast, where they can find your comedy, your writing, everything.
Yeah, you can find You Might Know Her from our podcast anywhere you listen, and you can find us both online. My handle is Rodeman. That's my last name and my first name, RODEMANNE.
And you can find me anywhere at Damian Bellino, and that's spelled like it sounds.
Yeah, go to youmightKnowHerFrom.com. You can find all of our writing and all of our
links.
episodes. Yeah.
You can follow me, Jess XNYC, follow the show account, Hot Takes Deep Dives, and we'll be back if, I don't know, if this show goes another season. Well, we'll recap. And
I just need them to bring back the theme song. That's all I'm asking.
okay.